Hi, I'm Peter Funa,
And I'm Tania Kolar.
and today's topic is on trigger. Tanya, what is a trigger for you?
What's a trigger for me? Oh boy. Let me think about this. Okay, trigger point. So obviously, a trigger is when somebody pushes your button, right? Where something really starts to affect you. I think in a disproportionate way. So the reaction is much bigger than it should be because the underlying emotion behind the trigger is really what's at stake. So I have to think about that. I mean, I think there's different triggers at different times and most of us I think are completely unaware of what our triggers are. So it could be as simple as well, let's say for example, just before getting the video together, I was running around, stressed out. I was a little bit late. I had a lot of things to do this morning. And, I kept my dear friend Peter waiting a little bit too long. And so for me, then it's like, now a little bit of that, like, okay, the insecurity starts to come in. Why was I late? I've let you down. And so for me, that's a little bit of a trigger where I feel responsible for people and I don't like to let people down. And so when I find myself in that situation, I react in a way that's a little bit disproportionate to the actual situation.
Well, a trigger is something we get connected, which we really don't want to be connected in our life.
Mm-hmm.
And and because it also can be a shadow in you or in me. That means the more we get triggered, actually, that I mentioned to a client yesterday, hey, be happy when you are triggered or when you were triggered, because then you can work on that and don't feel embarrassed or don't feel insulted or don't think anything negative about it. Be grateful for being triggered because that gives you the great opportunity to reflect yourself. There is maybe a shadow in you which where you're not aware about something, and the more you become aware of something, you can come out of that, and then it never ever triggers you anymore.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's a great opportunity to go inside and to have a look. Awareness is 75% of the game. Once you have the awareness, it's so much easier now to really stop that pattern, that behavior, or certainly the trigger. Because if we think about it, just look at any situation in your life where you're having an argument, perhaps with a partner, right? And so you're having an argument in the moment. Something's been said that has set your trigger off, right? So now you're upset, you've overreacted to the situation. And so you're not reacting to the actual present moment. What's happening is that because of the past emotion that you have tied to that one scenario, you now are reacting to all the past situations, right, that have triggered that particular moment and those emotions coming up. So if we can start to unravel that, so a great way to do that is to really take a look at what's going on inside when you feel that you have been triggered or someone has pushed your button, so to speak. There's always somebody in our lives that push our buttons, whether it's a partner, a boss, your children, but there's somebody who always, we say, sometimes knows how to push your buttons, right? And so again, there's some underlying feeling and emotion that's tied to all of that you're experiencing in the moment. So if we go to the root of that, then we can really unravel it, get rid of it so that we're no longer triggered and so that we can react in the situation appropriately and not this, big blow up that tends to be full of emotion over maybe something that's minute and is not a big deal. Right? I mean, think of traffic jams. People have road rage. They're not necessarily just reacting from that moment that somebody's cut them off just for that second, because really that's not such a big deal. It happened in a moment. But if it continuously happens, you are mad, you're angry, but you're angry at something else. It's not that moment. So it's really key to look inside to see where we are triggered. And as you say, to take that and say thank you for that situation, and to look at it as an opportunity to be better, to have that awareness so that we can actually feel confident and comfortable in any situation.
Yes, a trigger is a lack of awareness. And that's a wonderful definition, I guess. And a lack of awareness, and normally it's also connected with a lower self-esteem about myself, because when I get triggered, I get forced to a certain reaction, or I can't stand over the whole situation. Because when I can stand easily over the whole situation, then I won't be triggered. And a trigger is also something where we are reacting and not responding. Because the more we are reacting, we are doing something in a different energy, in a different vibration than when we are responding. Because responding is something we have thought it over, and we know that we are the boss of the situation, and we can handle that in a very easy way. So, as a mentor for individuality and reflection, I recommend you to reflect your behavior, your triggers as much as possible, because that gives you the peaceful state, that brings you the responding way, and not any longer the reacting way. And that gives you a more fulfilling and a peaceful life.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. So it's interesting because really, if we look at it, as a wound, right? So some of that emotional upheaval that we have is unprocessed feelings and emotions that we have from the past. So it's like a heel that you have, a cut, let's say, that has, it's trying to heal itself. There's a scab that's going to come on top of that to heal, but we keep on picking off the scab. So that's kind of what's happening when somebody's pushing your triggers. It's like you're not really allowing that healing to take place, because you keep picking off the scab, and so it's reopening that wound. So now it's susceptible to more hurt, and so we really have to go to the root cause of what is instigating the impact and the emotions. And then if we can really start to clear that, then we won't have that situation where we're constantly triggered, and that we are in a situation where we're reacting to our external environment versus responding, because you're going to allow now that heal to finally heal properly, to let that scab form, to let nature do its job to heal the self. And it's exactly like the emotions as well.
Yes. Just be aware, we can't heal our triggers during a war. We have to do that in a peaceful state. Because when we are in a stress mode, we are not able to do any like that. But we can do that when we take our time in a peaceful time. And I suggest you to reflect yourself in peaceful times, and not in a stressed or forcing time, because the result will be a complete different.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. We can think a little bit clearer, right? When we're not emotionally triggered and reacting.
Of course.
Yes, indeed.
So to become a master of that, take your time, take your peaceful time, take your time for reflection, take your time for individuality. So that helps you, and becoming bigger, becoming more focused, becoming more successful, and you will be less triggered by everything like that.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, unfortunately, we are out of time for this video. It's always a pleasure to chat with you and to share. So we hope that you tune in for our next video.
Thank you so much, and have a great time.